Think about all the different roles that each of you plays on a daily basis. For example, in addition to being a student, I'm a sister, an aunt, a girlfriend, a friend, an employee, and a daughter. With all of those, each of those roles, they are expected shoes to fill. In other words, as a sister, I'm expected to be there for my 3 sisters whenever they need me. My parents and my sisters expect me to help out around the house as well. As a girlfriend, I must be there for my boyfriend whenever he needs me as well, and I'm expected to spend much time with him. As an employee, I must show up for all of my shifts ready to work. As a student, along with all of you, I must complete all assignments with great effort, show up to all classes, and study for tests and read ahead on my own. As a member of society with so many roles, like all of you, it is difficult to manage time effectively where I can be successful in each role that I play. Now recognize which roles are of most importance to you at this point in your life. As a student, you are working on becoming the professional that you plan to be for the rest of your life. The role of being a student should be very close to the top of your list, and I'm going to point out a few different ways that could help you manage your time more effectively as a student. The Skills for College Success textbook points out that college adds new and different responsibilities to a life that is already extremely busy. If you think about your life before you became a student, you probably already thought that your life was busy. So now you're a full-time student on top of a full-time life. In order to manage time, the first thing that every student should get in the habit of doing is using some kind of calendar system. There are daily calendars, weekly calendars, and monthly calendars. Skills for College Success explains daily calendars by saying that they usually provide much space to write down day-to-day activities, but it's hard to plan ahead because you can only see one day at a time. And then monthly calendars show the whole month, so it's easy to plan ahead because you can see it every day for the whole month at once, but it doesn't leave you a whole lot of room to plan ahead. And so the weekly calendars give you the whole week at once and leave you more room to plan ahead, to write down each task. The calendar is only useful, though, if you write down all assignments and when they are due. Once you write down the due dates, you can go back in and schedule days for you to work on the assignments, keeping in mind the estimated time that it will take to complete each task. Skills for College Success defines this as back planning. For example, if you know you have a 20-page paper due for English and you think that it will take 2 weeks for you to complete all of the research, writing, editing, formatting, and printing of the paper, schedule time at least 2 weeks ahead of the due date to start on the paper. I have my planner here, and it's really cool. Mine has, for each month, it has the monthly calendar, and then when you flip it open, it has a weekly calendar too, which gives you more room. And in January, I've written on the Friday that I had a speech assignment due, and so I went back on Tuesday and written to work on the speech assignment because I knew that I needed a few days to work on it. And so I had to take into account I had to work on Wednesday, so I gave myself enough time to go back and plan ahead. And another simpler example of back planning would be when you set an alarm in the morning, because you have to think about how long it's going to take to do your daily routine of getting ready, and then driving to school, find a parking spot, and then walking to class. So that's another simple example of back planning. And so back planning is really useful in many different ways, and it helps avoid procrastination. Which Skills for College Success, the textbook, defines procrastination as the tendency to delay starting a task until the deadline is very near. We all have crammed for quizzes and exams, pulled practically an all-nighter to finish a project, and maybe even missed one class so that you could have extra time to finish something for a different class. And that cramming builds a huge amount of stress, emotional stress, physical stress, and social stress. Also, the performance on those assignments tends to be very poor. The textbook says that procrastination typically occurs when we are overwhelmed, intimidated, or confused about an assignment. Instead of starting on the assignment, then we let our fears get the best of us and put it off for a while. With that being said, the biggest obstacle that students like us need to overcome in order to manage time efficiently is to simply start on the assignment. Once we get started, we typically realize that we can do more than we thought, and the fear kind of goes away. Another great way for students like us to avoid procrastination is to complete the difficult tasks first. If you start on the hard stuff and get that out of the way, then the simpler stuff doesn't take so long and it just feels like a piece of cake. The article, Time is on Your Side, points out other things to keep in mind when learning how to manage your time efficiently. The article states that in order to set time aside to work on assignments, it is important to know yourself. Like, for example, when you're thinking about when you're going to study, ask questions like, do I work best with intense or a more laid-back schedule? So for those of you who get overwhelmed when there's much to do, you might want to cut back on those activities that aren't really essential so you'll have more time for your studies. And you can ask yourself, am I a morning person or an evening person? Because you want to plan your study sessions for the time of the day when you're the most alert. Also ask, can I tune out distractions easily? Because if you can't, you might not want to think you're going to study while you're in the cafeteria or somewhere in public. You're going to want to give yourself some time where you know it's going to be quiet. So students should always keep in mind what is most important, rather than what is more fun and interesting. I know it's hard to be a sister, aunt, girlfriend, etc., and a student all at the same time, but never lose track of why you're going to school. In the end, if you can use a calendar to keep track of everything, complete your difficult tasks first, and study during a time that you will actually be able to focus, your time will be spent much more efficiently, and you will ultimately become a better student.